Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. This is the Artificery Podcast, episode 10. We made it to double digits.
Woo!
Um,
Woo!
as always, I am your host, Nick, aka the Gandork. Joining me, as usual, is Garrett, aka Zero Hour, the other Nick, aka Taxter, and we have a special guest today, Hunter, aka Das.
We have two special guests today.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh
and we
no,
have the Dune
not
popcorn
Dune
bucket.
popcorn bucket.
Assuming I don't blur it out in post. It's just going to be like censored bars as it comes up.
Yeah, get it out of here.
Um, yeah. So anyway, Hunter's joining us today because he's going to help us talk about some secondary market prices later on. He is our resident expert on that matter. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about like what we usually do. What have you been playing lately? We've been playing in pre-releases, and we've been playing any constructed. How's that been going? I'll shoot it over to Taxter first. What have you been playing lately?
Not a lot of constructed, that's for sure. At least not as far back. Well, we were on late night since the last podcast. We can talk
Were
about
we?
that too.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I'm pretty sure, and it's all a blur now because we've had the actual cards in our hands. So like, I'll just talk about pre-release. Pre-release is a lot of fun. I did 3 of them. I think the first night was the smallest one at like 12 people. Then the other 2 were like 24-ish. So pretty big, pretty good. Though on Saturday, I think we had like 60 people in my city that were all playing at the same time because that's how they all overlapped on Saturday. So that was really cool. I ran the one on Saturday. So Friday night, I went 3-0 with with Boba Fett. I got a hyperspace Boba Fett, so I figured it was fitting to play him. Worked out card-wise fairly well. Had like 3 of the crafted smugglers, and those things just like carried me to victory because I just couldn't lose board presence early, and I had some combat tricks and all that. Saturday, tried to play Sabine. Yeah, it didn't go well, but I only ended up playing one game because we had an odd number of people and I was judging, so I just sat out the other 2 rounds after scrubbing out the first one. But that was fine because that pool was pretty bad. But Sunday was good. Went back and played some Vader for the first time, and probably the only time I'll play him in Sealed because it's the only time I really can. But he was fun. I went 2-1 that day, losing to another Vader that had some of the same really good. Like I ended up I had 2 super lasers for ramp. I had a fallen saber, and basically we had similar decks. I just
Nice.
drew 1 less super laser than my opponent every game, or drew it 1 turn later than him every game. And when it came to it being the guy that has the bigger Vader on the field is the one that stomps the smaller Vader once he's out. So
Yep.
just ramp is good.
Yeah.
Other
Good.
one,
Yeah.
oh, actually, I switched. I got so mad at the Vader and Mirror that I was like, I'm going to switch to Boba again for the last match. So I actually completely switched my deck out. I went from Vader Green to Boba Red or something. I forget which one I went, but completely switched my deck out for the last one. But that was fun because Boba was still. I was able to keep tempo on the board a little better than Vader, where I was just like, I'm just trying to keep stuff out there and just ramp and not really doing a whole lot until Vader comes out. Boba, it's like, no, I'm actually kind of playing the game every turn along the way.
No, yeah. Anyway, that's impressive. Like the number of players that you've seen has pretty much been echoed, I think, through a lot of the pre-releases. Like they're just getting a lot more players than I think anybody anticipated. So, like, yeah, 60 players in your area, like around simultaneously. That's pretty
I
good,
don't think we had 60 players in Destiny ever in my city.
right?
So that's for one thing. I mean, we'll see how much it dies down. There's going to be a lot. Like Destiny, it was like there was one store that mainly did it that everybody went to. There were some stores that kind of had stuff weekly, and those fell off by the end of like the second set. So by the end, like it was really down to like one store running events for Destiny, and now we have like you could probably play Star Wars Unlimited like 5 nights a week at least, with the way stores have staggered their stuff. So like if you're single and don't have a family, want to play Star Wars all the time locally, you can probably here, and that's kind of cool. I mean, I hope that like they can even get like I don't know what to expect, because obviously like a lot of people that are playing do have families, so it was big to have a bunch of people on the day that it all came out. But I think the weeklies will probably be closer to like the 10 person range, I'd imagine. But
Not bad. What about you, Garrett? What have you been playing? How was your pre-release?
I've just taken up Mono Red Sabine, and she is a monster. Like,
not in pre-release, just in
no,
construction.
I didn't get her in pre. Well, I got her, but I didn't get enough good red cards to do anything with it.
I
But
have
yeah, I'm
2
just
aggressions, so
I don't
if
have
you play
any of the
any of
double
that soon,
aspect legends
I
yet.
really want to play.
But in pre-release, I only got to go to one. The other one was I was gonna go to two, but forgot that I'd bought Dune tickets like a month ago, so missed the first one. But did the second one, and I went 4-0 with Krennic, mostly on the back of a super laser blast and the fact that I knew the cards and a lot of people didn't. Um, but we had 13 people, and the one on Friday at 8, and only one person went to both. So that's 20 people played, and then we had 5 or 6 that just couldn't make it to our pre-release that came later. So it's a more than Destiny already. Um,
Is this like in New Orleans, or is this like all
Suburbs,
throughout the
but
whole
yeah,
area? Okay.
yeah. It's the other store's about 30 minutes from me. It's not like far. Um, but yeah,
But like
it's.
drive like an hour and actually get more in the city too, if you wanted to.
I mean, I live like 10 minutes from the city, so
Oh, okay.
but
So
they
it's
don't
not
really have. We don't really have any game stores in the actual city. It's all in the suburbs, but it's a pretty big play space. I'm running the events there at Gopher Games, which is our local, uh, and people are very enthusiastic. We sold out of all the pre-release packs that we had, um, and people just had a good time. Like, it was a ton of fun. I I got Krennic, and I was really happy because I really wanted to play Krennic, um, because it's Krennic. But if I didn't have a super laser blast, I would have been at least 2-2 because
Nice.
I played against Sabine in the first round, and he had like 5 units out when I got to 8, and I was just like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but not sorry.
And then I just had enough like small things to take over from there, and then that's like basically how the 2 games that I won and probably shouldn't have won went. But yeah, it
Nice.
was it was a lot of fun, and we're it's a decent amount of people. It's more than I expected for something that and like only one of the people playing at our store was a former Destiny player. So it's all
Oh
people
yeah,
that
that's
are
also
like
crazy.
not they weren't people like, me that see a Star Wars card game and go, "Well, I got to buy that cuz I got the last one." So, you know.
There's definitely a good bit of people in mine that were at Destiny, but like it wasn't a majority. It might be like 15 to 20 people out of the like 60 that were playing the one day that were like Destiny people that I remember. So like it's really not that crazy.
Do you
So,
guys know what like card games those guys are coming from?
Magic, a lot
Magic,
of them.
mostly Magic
A
players.
lot of Magic players.
It's almost
Yeah.
entirely Magic. I feel like, but I feel like
Several of the
Madison's
people are
pretty big on
Magic.
Magic. So
Yeah, so yeah, anyways, continue on to like what mine was like. Pretty similar story. Like we had 2 going simultaneously on Friday night, and I could only go to one that I was running. But we had 20 players at our pre-release, and then the other one had 15 going simultaneously, so like 35. Wasn't bad at all. And then um, we didn't have one on Saturday. Then we had one on Sunday that I was able to do. So I did 2, and then the one on Sunday had another 16 people. And I think only like 5 of those people, including myself, had done one of the ones on Friday. And like 10 of the people at least were completely new to it again. So yeah, at least, not bad having somewhere around, 40, 45 people in the area over the weekend playing. Yeah, Destiny, I think we capped out at like 20 players. So this had a lot of interest. And yeah, like Hunter had asked, like, I think the vast majority of people were like Magic players who had jumped over to this. Maybe a couple were like curious from Lorcana, but like there was only like 3 guys that I knew of that played Destiny that had jumped into this. So yeah, pretty interesting there. At least I feel like, unlike Destiny, like this game is a lot more approachable, or at least interesting to people that want to play a card game. Where Destiny never had a chance because they just saw the dice and were like, pass. Like, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it gets that kind of appeal. But yeah, like as far as how I did, um, Friday night I swept the table with a Leia red deck that I didn't think was all that great, but I did have 3 Gorilla attack pods, including a foil one at the top of my curve, which kind of just slammed stuff in. And then on Sunday I went 2-1, and the one match I lost, I was playing IG 88 as a flex because I didn't want to play Vader, and I felt like I could build a pretty good IG 88 deck as it was. My deck was good, but then I ran into a guy playing Vaders that legitimately had 3 super laser technicians and 2 overwhelming barrages and a Palpatine at the top end, and he just steamrolled me.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it
what are you going to
wasn't-
do that?
I
it
still haven't
wasn't
seen an overwhelming barrage in 35 packs that I've opened so far. 0 overwhelming barrages, and it's uncommon, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's an uncommon.
That seems kind of crazy.
Random is random, but yeah, that guy had 2, and I won one game, took him to 28 damage the second game before he stabilized, and then he crushed me the third game. So I still almost got there, just playing like a rush IG88 thing, but like it held up. But those were the only 2 games I lost all weekend. Every other match that I had, other than that one, I won 2-0. Humble brag. As it is. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been playing. I haven't even looked at Constructed since we did the late night and all the stuff we played on late night, which was a lot of fun. That'll be the last time they do it on TTS, and we're going to be switching to webcams soon, heading into this week. But yeah, that's what I got. And then Hunter, you haven't played at all.
No, unfortunately, long time planned trip ended up coinciding with pre-release weekend, so I have not got to touch in hand cards yet. I did open a box last night, so I've got to see some of the cards and stuff, but I haven't played yet. But I was looking around today, and it looks like the pre-releases here in town must have went well, because 3 of the closest stores have already scheduled up some like weekly stuff post pre-release weekend, so they must have went well.
I'd expect Portland to be pretty
Yeah,
well saturated for that.
Yeah, like the Destiny scene was pretty good when I was here. We had quite a few stores going until kind of the product shortage hit for Destiny, and then I'm not super plugged in on like the Magic scene, but I know we used to play Friday night at one of the stores, and like 2/3 of the store was always full there with Magic players. So I'm assuming that's kind of like the player base that's going to be coming in between those 2 games. So I'd imagine there's a healthy amount of players in town that are excited and interested in the game.
Oh yeah, there was also a store I actually went and looked because I forgot to look. It's about an hour and a half away in Mississippi that I've been to. They done like it's actually where I won the Destiny and X-Wing regional that I won. They had like 16 people for their pre-release, so
That's not bad.
yeah. The pictures don't look like anyone I recognize either, so it's people, not people coming from here either. So that's also a good sign for like bigger events.
Yeah, I think like every major game store in my city is on the game. Like there's one, I don't even, they might be selling it, but they don't really run events unless like the community runs them for them. Essentially, they're like if you want to run it, we'll get the OP kit if you tell us how to do it and stuff like that. But you have to run it. It's like that's a little bit much if you're not going to try. We're not going to go to your store when everybody else has carrying the game. But like 4 main stores already. Might be a fit soon. Like the magic shop, the one place that's basically just the magic card store might even have it eventually. We'll see. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I think like I don't know what they expected demand to be, but it feels like they're knocking it out of the park, I guess I should say. So hopefully we don't run into product shortage issues, but they seem pretty confident that we won't. I have been hearing some rumors that like maybe Southern Hobby or someone was already sold out of boxes.
So I've definitely heard some stuff on that front. I have heard that FF or Asmodee did print quite a bit of booster boxes, and they're still in stock for the wave 1, and they've already ordered a second wave to start printing of the first set. So
that feels like a good sign to me.
That's a good sign.
That's a great sign.
That's a crazy sign, because everything we talked to them, we were like, we've printed so much product, we aren't even worried about selling out. And then now they're like, well, maybe we'll order a reprint.
Yeah. Well, it's twofolded. A, it means that it's selling really well, that they have to think about a reprint. And B, that means they printed plenty of product, but they're still not out of stock yet, with demand surpassing what they originally thought. So
yeah, and there's got to be product, because I want to draft. I'm going to be trying to convince people to draft in my store like every week. It's like, I can play Constructed anytime. Let's draft when I got 8 people.
We settled on at my store we're playing on Wednesdays, and it's going to be, we're going to alternate draft and Constructed every week, or sealed, draft or sealed and Constructed every week. So I'm pretty excited about that.
No, that's pretty good. Okay, moving on to, I guess we kind of combined like what are we playing and our pre-release stuff all into one, because that's what we've been doing. But I guess let's move on to our main topic of today, and the reason Hunter's here is that we want to talk about the singles market and singles prices and where are things going to settle. Like where like right now everything's crazy. Like you look on eBay, people are asking like $100 for a common hyperspace foil. That's just not realistic. So
no, it's not.
No. But like people out there want to know, like
I may have put one up there for 100 to see if it would sell. It didn't, but I wanted to see.
Yeah, I think like the big thing like you have to remember is the majority of the player base does not have the product in their hands right now. It's pretty much the pre-release cards or some product that got shipped out and might have gotten to somebody's hands early, or their game store that's ripping some product. So really, like the bulk of the product is going to get into people's hands over this weekend. And I think different to like Star Wars Destiny, I think TCG player is going to be quite a bit bigger of a player with this game than Star Wars Destiny. So I've already seen quite a bit, like all the cards are already listed up there and there's listings for all of them, but
you got to get it on the more list. It needs to be on like the main like 6 up there.
Yeah, well, that's going to be dependent on how the game does. If the game gets big, like we all want it to, it's going to find a way up there in that top bar. But one of the things with TCG Player is up until midnight tonight, only brick and mortar stores can sell before the release date. So as of midnight tonight, any like people holding pre-release cards or any other like kind of just online only shops, they're going to go live into being able to sell singles on TCG Player. So over the next 2 days, you're going to see the race to the bottom on a lot of these cards as everyone's inventory goes online and live. You're not going to see $100 commons anymore.
Yeah.
Those are all going to race down to the bottom. You're going to see commons in probably the 2 cents to 50 cents range, depending on whether it's a meta common or not. And I know a lot of people will like the legendaries are going to be the big thing to talk about, as you see what is Vader sitting the $40 to $50 range right now, and Boba's just slightly below that.
I expect that to stay, like those being the top 2 legendaries. That's where I at least before this all started, that's kind of about where I expected it to be. So maybe
Boba's sitting at $25 right now.
Is it down to 25? Yeah,
there's a lot more listings on it, but yeah.
I think those are going to stay as like the top ones unless like the meta shifts or something, because I think you kind of have to like segment the market kind of in 2 separate segments. And so you have like the players cards kind of, which is going to be all the regular commons, regular uncommons, regular rares, regular legendaries. And that market is going to adjust based on the meta. And then you have all the other parallels, like the hyperspaces, the hyperspace foils, the showcases. Those are gonna definitely depend more on like character popularity and like possibly art on the card for their price instead of you're going to get a little you're going to have a very small part of the player base that has the big pockets that wants to completely trick out their deck. But I think it's going to be mostly the collectors that are going to drive the market for those slightly rarer parallels that want those in either their collection, whether they're speculating on them. Star Wars has a huge collector base, and it's been a long time since they've really had like a TCG to collect in the space. Destiny wasn't really. It was in a weird space.
Terrible for that.
Yeah, it had dice, so it was really weird because the dice was connected to the card, so that like, yeah, and there wasn't anything really super rare. There was in each set there was 15 to 18 legendaries, and you got 6 of those guaranteed in every box. So 3 boxes technically, if you got lucky, you could open one of every of the rarest card in the set.
Yeah, I mean, Force Speed was probably the highest, and that topped out at like 60 or so for a little while, 60 or 70.
Yeah, like I definitely think the showcases are going to stay high. They're not going to stay as high as they are right now, and you're probably going to see, I would guess, somewhere in like a 20 to 35% drop over the next week on some of those. And they're probably going to like take kind of like a tiered approach. You're going to have your Palpatine, Boba, maybe Leia up as like the most expensive
I don't
tier.
want Palpatine to be the expensive one. That's the only one I want, Hunter.
Right. But he's cool.
He's a popular character. People like him.
Good. That's like it's my favorite art of all the showcases. So
yeah. But yeah, those are going to stay high. Obviously, they're the hardest to pull. And like right now, you look on eBay, I think there's like 60 to 70 of them sold and 60 to 70 of them listed. And that's just such a small portion of the cards that have been opened. So the amount of those that are going to flood the market over the next week.
That's crazy that there's that many already when you like just to like to get a good scale of like the sheer number of packs that are being opened. Because if there's already 70 that have sold and 70 that are listed, then you multiply that by 288, which is like the rarity, like how 1 in 280 is the rarity of getting one. Like that's a lot of packs, and we're just like at the beginning of it. Like
yeah, so you're just gonna see, and like if there's a second wave of the product coming there, it's
what were we talking? Wait, there's only been like 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 showcase Palpatines have been sold.
Yeah,
70.
But if there's plenty of product out there, you're just gonna see over the next like month to two, just like kind of like you're gonna see a big drop over the next week to 2 weeks, and then you're probably gonna see just like a very slight decline over the next like 2 to 3 months, and then it'll probably hit like a little steady point. I would guess some of the lower end showcases will probably come down somewhere in like the 30 to 50, 60 range.
You really think they'll get that low?
I think the
crazy low.
The unpopular characters are going to come down. The ones that people aren't like super trying to collect, and the ones that aren't like super meta. If it doesn't have either of those properties, I think they're gonna drop quite a bit.
Like despite them being insanely rare.
Yeah.
It's like
you have to think about it. Somebody has to want to buy and either collect that card or want to buy and trick out their deck with that card.
Right.
And so if they're not playing it and it's not a character like a lot of people are collecting, the prices, if there's no demand, the price is going to drop on those. But I think one of the interesting things that will be where the like hyperspace foils and the foils, where those settle. I thought I was going to have a slight hot take earlier, but then I posted about it in Discord and everyone kind of agreed with me. I think the regular hyperspaces, I think, are going to pull a slight premium over the regular foils, even though the foils are slightly rarer than the hyperspaces.
No, they're not.
They are.
Yeah, they are, because hyperspace are 2 per 3 packs, and the foils are 1 per pack.
Yeah, math-wise, even I did the breakdown on their stuff. The foils are rarer than hyperspace.
No,
regular hyperspace.
Yeah, how?
No, hyperspace are 1 per 1.5 packs, and foils are 1 per 1 pack.
You're talking about the hyperspace foil version of something? Or
No, sorry, regular hyperspace. Sorry,
Okay.
regular hyperspace. Did I say foil with the hyperspace? I'm sorry, I misspoke there.
I just make like I'm pretty sure hyperspace is more rare than the base foil because you always get one. You don't always get a hyperspace, but I don't know what the actual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's more complicated than 2 and 3. I think that's what the number on the website is. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Yes. Oh, okay. But anyway, my point was, I think a lot of people were expecting the foils to be pretty hyped and looked at, and then once I got them in hand last night, the foils just kind of disappointed me a bit.
I like them, but I don't think I've met anyone that has said that they prefer them over the hyperspace. I think everybody loves the hyperspace.
Yeah, the hyperspaces are awesome. Everyone loves good art, and they just look great. And like one of the things I did is like I held up like the holo card, and I have some other TCGs on my desk. I compared it to like a Lorcana card, a Pokemon card, and just the foil just kind of falls flat. It's pretty dim and dull. And the one thing they didn't do that the other TCGs do is they remove the foil on like the character or the focus of the art, which makes the art still pop and you just get the foil in the background. And the other thing they went is they did this like rainbow kind of shiny foil instead of just kind of like a hollow foil, which is kind of that same foil you get on like a cheap card printing site. Like if I wanted to go print like a proxy or something, like if somebody's going to do that, it reminds me of like the hollow you see on like proxy cards and stuff like that. So I don't think
Lorcana ones are different. I think those ones aren't those ones like cold foiled or
they're like just a flat foil. It doesn't have the rainbow on it, and then the character kind of pops because the foil's not on the character. But yeah, I think the foils are only gonna have like maybe 1.5 markup on like the regular. So if you have like a common for like 5 cents, you could probably get the foil for, I don't know, 7 to 10 cents. Like they're not gonna
not $10 for a hyperfoil common.
What is
the hyperfoil commons?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
The interesting one, because those are actually pretty rare. They're obviously not as rare as a showcase, but I think you will see the hyperfoils of the desirable like characters have a pretty high premium on them. Like the Boba and Vader, those I think.
Oh yeah, the legendary.
Those are going to stay up there. Like the Yoda's going to be up there. Like all those, I think those. Honestly, I think those are going to be more expensive than the lower tier showcases.
Yeah, I definitely would expect like Hyperfoil Vader to be more expensive than.
I mean, Hyperfoil Legendary is 1 in 200 packs, and the showcase is 1 in 288. I mean, so
it's
like they're closer.
The same scale of like really rare.
Yeah, because it's like in hand. I personally like the non-foil hyperspace better than the foiled hyperspace, but the fact of the rarity is going to completely drive the price on the hyperspace foil card. So.
Yeah. And it's like 1 in 60 for a regular hyperspace legendary, not foiled. So it's almost not quite 4 times, 3.5 times rare to get the hyper foil legendary or get a hyper foil legendary.
Yeah, I think those are going to be like the biggest swing and probably the hardest to try and like speculate.
Here's a question for collectors.
Yeah,
that would be trying to get all the variants, some of the variants. I don't know what a collector usually wants. Are they looking for a play set of these, or are they looking like I just want my one Hyperfoil Vader?
So
they're trying to get 3.
The ones that are just collecting are just going to get 1. So like, so usually how like you collect in Pokemon, you collect a species, and like a sports card, you collect a player and like the parallels. Like Lorcana, like the collectors, you get like all the like Stitch cards or all the Aladdin cards. So it's going to be like somebody's going to be like a Vader collector, and they're going to want the Vader leader and all of its print variants. They're going to want the Vader playing card and all of its like print variants probably. And like, or there's some that just might collect showcases. Like somebody might just come in and be like, yeah, I love the showcases. I want a set of the showcases, and they're going to buy all the showcases.
I
Um,
think
I'm sure there'll be some that'll be looking for supersets too and want one of everything.
yes, there is probably. I'm sure there's collectors with big wallets, and if they want something there, they'll go out and buy it. So there's gonna be a market for those.
I think one thing for non-collectors that is really going to possibly drive the secondary market for these kind of things is I think people are really going to want to bling their Twin Suns decks because they're one-ups. It's all singleton.
Mm-hmm.
You only need one of it, but
Yeah.
you want that one of everything to look beautiful. I've heard multiple people already talking about that's kind of what they want out of it, and I'd agree. I think that sounds awesome.
That sounds really cool,
Is
and
that-
I'm excited to see where like the Twin Suns variant goes.
Is that something that people do in Magic for Commander? Like, do people buy like the? I mean, Magic doesn't have a ton of variants, like not like the others, I don't think. But is that something people do in Magic too?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think like in the Pokemon realm, there is a variant that's similar to that where it's just one ofs. I don't remember what theirs is called, but I would guess with like through all the reprints and stuff, and with like more modern stuff having like full arts and stuff, I'd guess there's a lot of people that trick them out like that, just because it's way easier to get a single copy of a card than like a playset of a card.
Because like I'm not the person who wants the showcases or the hyperspaces. I just want to play set.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get one and I'm gonna put it in a Twin Suns deck, and like I don't know if I really like Cassian or something or K2, I don't know. Maybe I think about buying a hyperspace if I can't find one.
I mean,
Like,
that's the place where like the leaders that you might not think of in the meta will shine. It's like it feels like every leader in the first set has some fun level factor in Twin Suns. Like I can
except
see
for
enjoyment.
Chewy.
Oh, that I think you could still play.
But a lot of people want their Chewy Han Twin Suns deck just
Yeah.
But
for
he
theme.
costs $7. He's so expensive.
But the Han turn, you get them both because Han ramps. You
Yeah.
just
I
It's
guess that's
actually
true.
you play a green base and you actually got like a resupply if you get lucky and draw your one resupply.
Okay. I want to put Hunter on the spot and ask him, like, from the perspective of, I just want, like Garrett said, I want my play sets to play with, and let's say, like, I want Vader. Like, I want to get my play set to Vader. It's the most popular card in the set, and right now, let's see, what's Vader going for? They got him for 47 on TCG Player. I don't know what I could find them for on eBay. Let's see.
20 to 40 over the last couple days.
2040.
Yeah.
Some got down to 20. Oh god, some. Oh no, that's a hyperspace.
Someone
Yeah,
sold one
so
for 23.
yeah, that's on a bid for 23 though. I can't trust that. Like, what's?
Oh yeah, here you want me to look at like sold stuff on eBay?
Yeah, like this got it for 50, 40. Yeah, so around the same price. Like right now, let's just say Vader's at $45.
Yeah.
How low do you think he's gonna get? Like, what point should I pull? Like, if I'm patient, like I don't need him this weekend.
Okay.
How low before you'd be like, let's pull the trigger? Like, is that Vader gonna get down to $20?
I think it could get down to $20-25. Yeah.
Like literally,
I think
50% of what he is now. You think?
yeah, give it a week to 3 weeks, and there's going to be a lot of product opened over the next 3 weeks if this game has the demand we think it does. Just like you're going to see just easily probably a 20% drop over the next day and a half.
Yeah,
unless
like
Vader becomes the most meta character, you're not going to see like a super big upswing. That's the only thing that really causes big upswings on release, is if there's a character that like people didn't think was going to be meta, and all of a sudden like a week in it wins a bunch of tournaments, becomes the meta thing, and all of a sudden everyone's trying to buy that card. That's the only thing that's going to really put a giant price spike in a card after release.
Yeah, I think Vader has the problem now of he is kind of thought of to be meta already from like what
And
people
he's
have
in
known.
2 of the like
Yeah, and it's Vader. He's getting the Vader bump. Because similar
Yes.
to Vader, we have the Boba Fett legendary, which I think is in just as many decks that people have been playing over the past 6 months. But
Yeah.
right now, he's only $25.
Yep. Yes, there's a Vader bump. There was a Vader bump in Destiny. Like,
Oh, yeah.
granted, most of the
Not
Vaders
any
were
more rare,
pretty.
but
Most of them were pretty playable in Destiny, like the legendary ones. But there was still a bump because it was Vader.
Yeah,
But I
it
don't
was
know, like,
always good.
I just think there's enough of like the going to be parallels of the Vaders for the Vader collectors to chase.
And what is a parallel for?
So a parallel
People
is going
don't
to be
know
the
that.
hyperspace, the foil, the hyperspace foil. I guess parallels kind of like a sports card terminology where you have all the different color variants of like a player. So yeah, it's just the different variants of a base card.
yeah, which puts more into circulation overall.
Yes.
Variants too. So
all right. So I'm going to extrapolate based on what Hunter said. So if like he thinks in 3 weeks Vader's going to drop 50% for the listeners, that means stuff like Boba that's sitting at 25, or Luke that's sitting sub 20 already, or Falcon that's sitting at 19. Like 3 weeks from now, we could be looking at $10 legendaries. You think
Yeah.
that's fair?
I think that's pretty reasonable. $10 to $15 legendaries, I think, is going to be probably like your average legendary price. You're going to get some that sync that aren't playable, but I think that's a pretty sweet spot for the middle in that $10 to
definitely
$15
scares me off
range.
from like buying any more boxes past like 6 essentially. Like there's no reason to try it. It's such a different mentality from Destiny, where it's, well, you get about 6 boxes in Destiny, and that gets you a playset. And
Mhm.
this doesn't. But you also shouldn't go to like it's going to be a crap load of boxes if you want to actually pull all your legendaries, because it's just not that common comparatively. But
No, because on average, what are you going to get? 3 to 4 legendaries in a box?
Three.
Yep,
The
3.5
average is three a
is what
box,
they
right?
16 times 3, so it's like 12 boxes ish range if you get lucky. Like, I just don't think. I think it's just going to be, because if the prices really are like $10 for a legendary, where we get down to it, I feel like filling it out your set just by buying them is absolutely going to be a great call.
I mean, that's kind of with any TCG. Like, buying singles is always going to be the best price wise for like building out sets and decks. Like, open a couple boxes to get like the majority of your commons and uncommons, and maybe you'll pull something like pretty rare and cool that you can either like swag out your deck, or you can sell it to fill out the rest of your set.
Because like
Yeah.
I assume Vader and Boba will probably top out the set in price, just
Yeah.
because it's Vader and Boba.
Yeah, I put like Vader, Boba, Luke, and Falcon as like the top tier of the legendaries.
Yeah,
Like
I think those,
four.
and then I think like the double aspects are probably right under
think
that, just
Those
because of usage.
I think the double S specs won't get used as much. Cunny will be the best of those.
Yeah, double aspects have fallen even just from the store listings. Like Command, Cunning, 14, 12, $11 for Vigilance, $15 for Regret. Like they're fallen. They're in that second tier, but like Devastator, weirdly to me, and Avenger are surprisingly far up there. And I don't know why, because I feel like those are very niche cards.
People like their Star Destroyers.
Apparently, they like their big things.
So like hearing that the highest price of a legendary will probably top out at 30. I'll say conservatively 30 for like something like Vader. I don't even think it'll be that high, but that feels good to me because like I played Magic in high school just for fun, and then I stopped for a while, and then I came back competitively. And when I came back, there was a card called Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that was
I didn't even play Magic. I
$140
know
card.
that card.
That was $140 card.
And
You
you
needed
four of them,
four
right?
for a playset. There was a deck called Super Friends that cost over $1,000 that people were just bringing to Friday Night Magic, and I'm like, well, my deck that cost me $40 is not going to win. So knowing that I can build a competitive deck for at most maybe let's say $200 feels pretty good.
Yeah, I
And
think like
Sabine doesn't even need a legendary right now.
yeah, I say this game with the chases, that's something that we didn't get in Destiny, and that changes the math on a lot of these, or a lot of what things are going to be. Because like Destiny, like legendary, that was like the highest rarity; those are going to be the most expensive cards. But like, it's all on will the chase cards be desirable enough to like make people open product and push the cost of non-treatment cards down.
Yeah, you get that trade-off on when it's best to open a box and when it's best to buy singles just based on like your cost average, and it should kind of toe the line and go both sides. That's kind of how the market works, and when it's time to open, but it gives a floor to cards and it gives a ceiling to cards, because if things get too expensive, it's going to become a better deal to start opening boxes, and if things get too cheap singles wise, then people aren't going to like start people are not going to open product anymore, and then product's going to sit there and people are going to buy up the singles, and then the singles prices are going to rise until people need to start opening product again.
Yep. Yeah, and then like what Garrett was saying, I think at least my experience so far with this game, unlike say Magic, which Magic has like chase inserts, they have alternate art treatments, they have foils, they have the whole thing, but their prices end up staying really high, and it's a lot because of how, from a design perspective, they relegate their power cards to rare and mythic rarity.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not sure if that's the case. Like, I think a lot of these legendaries are really desirable, and some of them are, like Vader or Boba or Luke aren't niche. Like, they're just generally powerful. But like outside of like 3 or 4, you get a lot of like very niche things. Like the Super Laser Blast board wipe is so expensive. Like a control deck's gonna play it, and then like you got these Star Destroyers that are so expensive that they can only go in like control or slower decks, and then you got the double aspect cards that can like only go in these double aspect decks. So I don't know, like if you can put together like competitive decks that don't need, like, I don't know, someone had done the math, like the average Magic deck in like a top 8 for like a standard tournament was something like 75% rares and mythics, and I don't think we're gonna get anywhere close to that with this game. It's gonna be the opposite. Like decks are gonna be 75% commons and uncommons,
Mm-hmm.
which drives the average like competitive decks, I think, way down, and I think we'll see some of that in the prices as well. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll need to sit down and do the math when things kind of stabilize a bit. But usually, I think expected value of a box, like a booster box, and most like TCGs, sits somewhere like usually in like the 85 to like 90% of the value of a booster box. So usually, it's a losing battle to open a booster box when you do like all the odds pulls, which Asmodee has done a really good job. I love how they posted all their odds for pretty much everything, so you don't have to like speculate on that and wait for some of the big stores that are going to open like 4,000 booster boxes to sell singles. So we have that data, so you can do the math to see where like the expected value on a box is sitting, so you can see, like, get an idea of where some singles are going to go, just to maintain that market rate.
There are some people like trying to get spreadsheets for people to put in data because they want to see if Asmodee's numbers are right.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's afraid they're lying.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Like, if I'm sure some big store, like most of the TCGs have like a big store that's like a big singles that opens a lot of product like at release to sell singles, and a lot of them usually post their like pull rates. So I'm really curious to see like how close like the showcases line up to like 1 in 12 boxes, because it's an interesting like 1 per 2 case is an interesting kind of pull rate they chose on those.
But
Well,
like, even
I also want to know
numbers that
how
we
they're
have-
actually. I want to know how they're distributed, and that's one of the things we don't know. Like, because it's not 1 per case, where you could be like, well, you're basically guaranteed 1 if you get a case. Is it guaranteed 1 in every 2 cases, or
From what I've heard talking to them, it's random. Like, they aren't fixing. They aren't, like, it's not like Destiny had fixed legendaries. Like, you would get 6 in 95% of the boxes.
But other
From
games
what I've heard of this, it's not they're not fixing anything here. This is straight odd. So like, you see people be like, I opened 30 packs and I got 2 showcases, and then there was a guy on Facebook that says he opened 6 cases and got 0 showcases.
Yes,
okay, so
6 cases.
Pre-release boxes are different, though. That's the thing. So I feel like those are different from opening.
I don't think they are. I don't think that's
think they
the
are.
other conspiracy thing is that okay.
I'm not saying they're juiced, but they are coming from a different set of printing than like just at the end of the day, there is a lack of random, or the randomness is controlled at a certain level. What is that level? Is it at a box, or is it at a case? Is it at 500 cases? Like how at some level there is a random distribution that the model is fit to, but where is
Yeah,
that?
but it usually goes not with boxes or cases. It goes with print sheets.
Yeah, and how
Yeah.
You
big is
print
that?
them.
Was like a print sheet going to be like 500 boxes? And so, like, if that's the thing, that's pretty good. Because it does mean that you can kind of get stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I want-
nowadays, too, like even on the print sheets, they shuffle hoppers now, which is a relatively recent thing. So like you can't even they make it as hard to map as possible because you got people like Hunter back in the day, his forefathers that collected this stuff, and they could map out like where the pulls would be in football cards or like where the
That's
pulls
kind
would
of what I mean.
be.
Like, exactly. I want to avoid that. So like, it's good to
Yeah.
know that like if it's randomized at a very high level, that it's going to be
Yeah.
basically
But, like,
impossible to
over-
get the system.
It's like any statistic. It's meaningless to an individual. Like, it's over X amount of time, this will be the pull rate. So like
I'm going to
everything
pull
we had this past
no
weekend means
showcases
nothing.
and complain about it the whole time.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
opened 4 boxes of the pre-release because we sold all of them, which was 64, I think. 'Cause I think there were 16 per box, and we had no showcases, so like we didn't see any.
We had so the one pre-release on Saturday was 24 people and 3 prize boxes. So that comes out to 9 total boxes, and there were no showcases in that one. But the other store had one both days.
Oh yeah, we didn't have, unless the people who got their prize packs took them home, didn't open them, which there were a couple. So there could be,
It's
but
possible.
we didn't see any. There were hyperspace. We had hyperfoils, we had some legendary hyperfoils and stuff, but we didn't. There were no showcases that I saw.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of confirmation bias or survivorship. I don't know what the right bias is online.
I mean,
but
people aren't going online and showing off
I
their
pulled nothing.
their
Yeah.
booster pack with IG88. Like they're gonna go online and show off the booster pack with Showcase Boba. Like that's what
Yeah.
you're
I don't
gonna
know.
do.
My legendary pull rate's pretty good so far. It's going to go down tomorrow, but I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Nobody's opened a sizable enough product yet to actually get a true sense of it. And I was a little confused why they didn't go with a case hit, but then I kind of thought about it, and it actually really makes sense because you don't want that, because then you'll have people that open them, rip, wait till they get the showcase, and then
Mm.
sell a bunch of loose booster the rest of the booster boxes in the case,
Yep.
and then you get a fear of buying loose booster boxes in
Yeah,
the hobby.
and that's
You don't
exactly
want.
kind of where I was going before, which is like that's just a bad thing. Like you shouldn't be able to snuff through and do that.
Yeah.
Now the real question is, to showcase cards way different enough that you could
And-
shoot it through weight.
That is an interesting, because I know like vintage Pokemon, like those packs are weighable. The hollows weigh more, so if you got like a kitchen scale, you can weigh like old school Pokemon packs. So it's like
It's insane.
if the showcase cards are heavier, that may be something to have to worry about.
I wonder how, like, yeah, I wonder just like how off it has to be. Like maybe at the individual pack level, you can do it if you're weighing each pack, but I don't know if you'd be able to tell, like, does this case have it? Because it is 1 gram more, but like, hell, they could probably put some kind of weight randomizer in their stuff if they really wanted to. And I don't know that they're actually doing that in any.
That's
someone-
how.
When someone mentioned that, I went and looked at mine, and like they don't feel different, but I don't think I'm going to be able to tell that. That's like a
No.
tiny
This is
scale
like
thing.
literally putting it on like a very precise scale to try to.
Mhm.
You gotta get one of the drug dealer scales.
It'd be like
Yeah.
you're a
That's what they
game
use.
store, drug dealer scale, and you put all your boxes on it before you sell it, and you keep the ones that weigh more, crack them because they have showcases.
I think there's too much variance to do a box. I'd be more worried about packs, but I don't know how much.
I mean, all you'd have to do is give variance to the packaging material, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
Exactly.
So
you wouldn't be able to know.
coming from, I do have Pokemon background. That's how they combated it. They put in code cards for their online TCG, and then like they have multiple versions, like colors of the code cards, and each has like a different weight to it to like add variance to the pack.
Interesting.
I mean, I feel
did
like they've thought of all this, right? Like
Probably
we're
won't
thinking
share
of
it.
it. They had to have thought of
They
this.
probably won't tell us about it.
Well, even if Fantasy Flight didn't think of it, the people who are printing their
industry
cards had to have told them
Monkey.
about this. Yeah.
I mean, these are the people that are putting discard cards now in 2 different card games. Wait, Hunter. How much is a discard card going to be worth from Star Wars Unlimited?
Sold for 100. One sold for 100.
Wait, it sold for 100? What?
Got to get the misprints.
Yeah,
The one that was listed at 14,000 sold for 100.
You can collect your Lorcana discards now and your Star Wars Unlimited discard cards because they're both from the same printer.
Oh man,
So
the whole misprint scene is something I do not understand, but there's a market for it. There's people that love that stuff.
Sorry,
So.
one sold for 95, the other sold for 100. So I think we know a price.
If they're the same printers, then that means that there's hope for the foils getting better. Then, right?
Yes, I would guess so. I mean, I think a lot of that. I would guess most printers have options on what foils they can put on. So I think there's a chance.
They're being conservative and they're waiting to see if the game's a hit. Then they'll order the sweet foils for the next set.
I don't know. Like, they put the special foils in their OP kits, so it seems to me like FFG's current thing is it's going to be these crappy rainbow foils in the pack, and then if you want the fancy, I don't even know what they call the other foils, but the OP foils are cool.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen one of those in person yet, but
yeah.
Those are on the Judge promos, right?
Well, the Judge promos have it, and then if you go to your store for like your weekly OP night, they give you booster packs now for OP that come with 3 cards, and those cards have a chance to get a foil too in the OP pack, and that foil, it's not the rainbow foil, it's the
it looks
fiery whatever foil.
Yeah, it looks almost like
diagonal lines kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like a lava pattern or whatever. I'm looking at one right now on eBay.
Yeah,
like you can literally see the shot. Like I have my Judge promos next to my regular pre-release ones, and like just in a binder right next to each other. Like one just has like that sparkly extraness to it.
Yeah, that looks good.
That's not foil. They didn't foil the backside though, which I think is lame.
Which also, is weird.
Garrett, they didn't there's no foil over Luke on that either, is there?
No, there is on the lightsaber.
Okay, yeah. So
and the background behind him, but not on him.
Okay, so I like how they did that, like where they left the actual art, the focus art untouched.
For all the cards. And maybe that's a decision they made after printing and before they went to, like, maybe this is like, we locked this in, then we made OP set 2.
And then OP wanted, I think it was Corey on one of them said that like they fought to get the special foiling for OP cards. Like it's something that they went after, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see that kind of foiling in packs at some point. No idea. It is cool though.
It's cool. It shows they're willing to do it, so it is something we could see in the future.
And I mean, if enough people want it, I'm sure they will. One thing I'll say, they have been listening to people generally about things, so like, they have their ear to the ground on it. So
yeah.
Anyway, we're getting close to the end of our hour. So let's see. Release tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who's hyped for that? Like, actually, I was talking to Hunter before y'all got on, and I feel like I'm the only person not opening booster packs right now because I go on Discord and Facebook, and it's just everyone's like, "Look at my polls." I'm like, "Yeah,
people got them shipped early."
I know. I'm glad I bought and supported my friendly local game store so I could open my packs later than everybody else. I'm not really that. I'm not bitter about it, but I do find it funny.
I'm taking a half day tomorrow. I'm opening my packs at the store, and I'm going to stay in the store until they kick me out. We're doing a draft tomorrow night too, so I'm hoping it's going to be a great day.
That sounds good. I did not take a half day, but we'll see how long I actually last in the day before I just say screw it and log off and head to the store. Like, I've had enough. It's Friday. I'm out.
I'm working from home tomorrow, so I'm taking my lunch break to go to the store and get my stuff.
And then you're just going to come home and open packs while working the rest of the day?
Yep. Half the fun of me for a game is organizing, so I've already...
Really? You have fun organizing? Because that's like the most torturous, hated part of games for me.
I can't really see it because of my background, but...
Yeah.
I've
put all my polls in binders so far, too. At least the 3 ofs. I haven't fully decided on my system yet.
I was kind of curious about that, because Destiny, everything could fit in a normal binder if you had a full play set. But this one being 3 cards and a huge set, it's like 622 cards.
I'm putting 3 of in the sleeve.
Yeah, I put 3 of them in the pocket here because it's got a thing on it, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
and I don't have them sleeved in there unless I'll probably do the sleeve the rares and the legendaries. But this holds 480 cards. So if I put the leaders in their own binder, you could fit 2 sets in there.
Yeah, I think
Two full
mine's.
sets.
I think I have a 480 as well.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
use for like Destiny. I
20,
have
It's like
20
the 12. It's this big. It's like
sheets
12
of-
pages.
Yeah.
Or 12
20 sheets
Yeah.
of.
sleeves.
Yeah, I got one of those out last night, and I started doing the math, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to even put these in there."
I'm cramming 3 cards in a slot too, and I'm like perfect fit sleeving all of them,
So-
and they still fit. It's
Oh,
just,
I'm not. I didn't put any other sleeves over them, but
Yeah, I haven't done sleeves yet, but
I could.
I
I
said I
probably
will
should
for
do, like-
rares and legendaries.
But like, so I'm also. What are you doing with your hyperspaces? Because like right now, it's like I'm doing 3 per slot, and I'm just if I have a hyperspace version, I'm just gonna put it as one of the 3 since I will want to play it, and then
I'm
my normal.
upgrading my playset as I go. Is how I'm doing it.
That's how I'm doing it. I'm not
If
keeping
I
them
pull
separate.
like a hyperspace or a foil, I'll be like, I'll take out the regular, put in the foil. The regular can just go to my chaff box.
See-
I don't care.
See, I do
Same
the
here.
opposite. I'm keeping those separate. It's just regular ones in the binder. The rest of it's
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't care. I'll sell it. I'll do whatever.
I want a
Okay.
bling set.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'll
put
blink
my
the
deck.
binder.
Yeah. I was gonna put them all in a box until I saw how pretty like the hyper space and the hyper foils were, and then I'm like, I didn't want to put them in a box anymore. I wanted to put them in a binder so I could look through them and look
I
at all
have,
the
like,
pretty cards.
5 nice binders from Destiny that didn't actually warrant the quality of Destiny cards that I just am unsleeving my Destiny from them and putting this in it because
My
it's a much
Destiny
better-
binders still have Destiny in them. I'm not.
Mine do
them
too.
out.
I'm not
stuff.
getting rid of them.
I
Yeah, we'll
always
put 'em in
kept
a box.
Destiny in
That's
boxes.
what I
I
did.
never put Destiny in binders, so they're all in boxes on my shelf.
I only undid set 1 and 2 so far because that's what was in one binder. So
Nice.
And then
Anyway, does anyone have
25,000 pounds
anything?
of dice.
Anyone have anything to plug before we turn it off?
I'm going to be doing a virtual pre-release thing with Late Night Gaming. That's coming up here.
That is a good plug.
Try to record that. I recorded my sealed games, and that's probably going to go up on our channel before this does. So,
Awesome.
or not my
I'll
games,
plug-
but my building.
Sorry,
I'll
But-
plug Shai Halud of the Desert Planet Arrakis.
I'm gonna have to blur
I'm so
it again.
disappointed I missed it.
His camera's almost doing a good job of blurring
Yeah,
it.
you can't even he thinks that it is because it kind
No,
of
you can't do that. Let's make it even worse. You can't fist it. Family friendly.
No,
We're gonna get the
only.
explicit tag.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Next week we're gonna try to do some webcam games. I think. Are you guys ready?
Good to
See if
go.
we
I
can do it.
I need to get a stand for my camera, but otherwise I'm ready.
Yeah, I have no
Just-
idea what that's gonna look like. How are people playing webcam games? Are they just using Discord? Like, what is the ideal software to play a
You
webcam
could
game?
use Zoom. I mean,
for playing it, Discord. If you want to record, it's a different thing.
I mean, I can record my Discord through OBS.
There's
if I
a
wanted.
Yeah.
there's a website that you can basically.
I mean, you
It's-
can just
I've
pipe your
talked to some
OBS.
people. There's a website that basically does like the feeds for multiple people in a correct way, so that everyone can pull it into OBS essentially. So basically, it's a way of sharing your feed without having to screen capture your Discord window to get other people's feeds.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that so we can try to get a good quality. But anyway, that's what we'll be doing next week. All right, with that, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.